Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. What do you do when the common folk get all uppity about silly things like radio edit, unarmed man in his own home? You suppress the evidence, of course.
It is said that the people are revolting.
You said it. They stink on ice.
Back in December, Cherokee Indian police responded to a report of gunfire. Being the super detectives they are, they assumed a dude over there in that trailer's, I don't know, probably the guy that did it. And so they ordered him out, then shot him when the unarmed man came to the door with his hands raised. You know, like they told him to. That was news in December, but now the Tribal Council unanimously voted to exempt body cam video from public record requests.
Well, isn't that special?
Now, I just want to take a second to point out here that the charges against this man were dropped. So there's no indication that he did anything at all to get police called to his house in the first place. What would you do in his shoes? You think maybe you might have a gun in your hand if someone claiming to be the police came to your house in the wee hours of the morning when you weren't expecting it? Do you normally carry a gun at home? I do, but only if I'm wearing pants. While you consider that, please also consider how it would be literally impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by TNVC.com, your source for fine artisanal night vision with notes of chicory and leather, patiently brewed by the Amish in the old world style. You might have seen this tweet floating around claiming Colion Noir said he supports bans on open carry. For the record, no, Colion Noir never said bans on open carry are constitutional. He didn't even mention open carry in any way in the article linked in the tweet. But I did find this video from last year where he said he prefers not to do it himself. Most of the time. But then went on to say there are certain circumstances where even he has carried openly. What do you guys think? Do you ever carry openly when hunting, fishing, barbecues? Had you ever heard of Chuck Nichols before he tweeted that Colion Noir had said something he never actually said? Comment below. Like a dog returneth to his vomit.
Come on, it's throw up. You like throw up.
I do like throw up.
Control freaks love going back to laws which punish the victims of gun thefts. Louisiana State Senator Gary Carter, who was definitely the chairman of his FBLA club in high school 4 years running, just introduced another such bucket of vomit, SB 216. Now, of course, no one is trying to claim we have a right to be irresponsible with grown-up things like guns and drain cleaner. You have a moral responsibility not to leave a circular saw laying in the middle of the floor plugged in where your toddler plays. And if a gun isn't under your direct control, you ought to make some attempt to secure it, especially if some defenseless victim zone forces you to leave it behind in your vehicle. Car break-ins really are one of the biggest places where thugs get guns. And while you really ought to use a locker, if you have to leave your gun behind, you shouldn't have had to leave it behind in the first place. Of course, you folks know I would never suggest people ignore useless and unenforceable gun-free zone signs. But if, hypothetically, you were to do that in Minecraft, your gun would be safe from theft. So these zones should not exist. In any case, the dumbest part about these laws is they are guaranteed to have the exact opposite effect as intended. If you punish people who have a gun stolen, then why would they ever report it stolen? Not only do you still have all these stolen guns floating around, but now cops can't arrest a thug when he gets caught with it, and they can even sell them to pawnbrokers and whatnot. We literally have just no control over stolen guns anymore. Congratulations. Come to think of it, why not throw people in a cage if their car is stolen? Everybody's favorite thin-skinned anti-gun agitator was trying awfully hard to convince the NRA's last 7 members that he'll try awfully hard to start caring about their gun rights this time around if he gets elected again. To that end, he promised national reciprocity.
I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk delivering national concealed carry reciprocity.
Like everything else related to guns, he just doesn't get it. 20 years ago, that might have been appealing to some folks, but the last thing gun rights activists want these days is for the federal government to step in and start dictating how states set training requirements. The Bruin decision just forced every state to adopt shell issue permitting standards, and the majority of states are permitless carry. If Trump understood gun rights as fundamental human rights enumerated in the Constitution of the United States of America, and if he cared about it in the way you and I do, he would have directed his attorney general to sue every state which didn't honor every other state's permit under the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution while he was in office. Now, for your moment of Zen. Hey friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure, uncut American pew propaganda at the low, low price of free fitty? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsor. So do us a solid and get yourself something nice from tnvc.com. You deserve it. I love you.